everybody else.
Keep the bag, King Walker.
I think it's really good. I think we got a really nice squad this year. I think if we keep the ball in play and keep the ball in hand, we'll do really well this weekend.
Get him. Let me get him. I got him. Let me get him. Let me get him. It's game time.
Feeling good, feeling ready, happy to be here.
It's game time.
The goal is to shut down our opponent's defense and just really come up strong and make it as hard as possible for everybody else.
Keep the bag, King Walker.
Get him. Let me get him. I got him. Let me get him.
How the game is going and everything like that, okay? At scrums, if you can let your players know, I will, if I see a good standard that I want you to stay at, I will tell them and I'll give them like positive kind of feedback on that, and so that they can just keep that picture in their head and say, okay, this is what I need to do next time to avoid any penalties, okay? Any questions for me? No? Okay, perfect. Well, you're kind of the home team, I guess, so I'll let you pick heads or tails for the coin toss if you want to flick it. That is tails. Yeah, the head's there. So tails. So you can pick kick or receive, or you can pick, you want to kick, and do you want to stay, you're going to switch ends, so you're kicking towards the forest, whatever that is. Okay, perfect. Thanks, lads. Cheers. Well done. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we're not.
Back to the 2025 U19 Senior Atlantic Rugby Championships on Maritime Athletic Profiles. We're honored to have Keegan Dalton join us. So, your thoughts on how things have been going for you at the championships so far?
I think we're doing really good. Couple setbacks, couple inconsistencies during our games, but overall, I think we've grown really well as a team and started to come together. And I think we'll be looking really good on Sunday.
So let's learn more about you. So where are you from and where do you play locally?
So I'm from Pictou County, Nova Scotia. I represent Pictou County RFC.
All right, so Pictou County, so we're New Glasgow area. So basically, how did you get involved into the sport?
That's from Brian Campbell. I just kind of, playing high school, I was kind of forced to go out and try for a high school rugby team. And I just fell in love with it ever since.
So you're also one of these ones that sort of got involved in it at the high school level. So what high school did you attend?
I went to Northumberland Regional High School.
Northumberland Regional, yeah, they were putting on a really good program there, especially on the girls' side. So talk about maybe some of the people that sort of have mentored you to help you get along this journey that you're on right now.
Yeah, it's definitely been like Brian Campbell and my coach here, Axel, and Brenton, and really just everybody that's helped me along the way. It's awesome. I'm really appreciative of it.
All right, so of course, let's find out more about some maybe your occupation studies, where you see yourself going, what do you want to study for going down the road there, I guess.
So I'm taking engineering at Dow right now. Currently trying to get into mechanical engineering. Would really like to work in kind of like working on cars and all that stuff. It'd be really sweet.
So you can be like a mechanic there. So if you have those long road trips there, you can fix your own cars, every once in a while. So, okay, where do you see yourself going in the sport in the next couple of years?
Really, I have no future plans, really. I'm just trying to ride it out as long as I can and just enjoy everything while it lasts.
Well, speaking of enjoying, go enjoy the rest of this championships, and best of luck the rest of the way, and all the best in the future to you.
Thank you very much.
Keegan Dalton from Team Nova Scotia. We're here at the 2025 U19 Atlantic Rugby Championships here on Maritime Athletic Profiles. All right, we're looking at the huddle here for Team New Brunswick taking on Team Nova Scotia U19 men's action to kick off day 3 from the 2025 U19 Senior Atlantic Rugby Championships from Windsor, Nova Scotia on the grounds of King's Edge Hill School on Maritime Athletic Profiles. We have Dan Hobson along with Matt Melanson on the call and the rest of the crew here. So let's tee this one up here and tease it up here. Your thoughts here, New Brunswick versus Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I mean, we said New Brunswick had a strong second half, ironed some things out, had a bit of a intense halftime, and I think want to build on that and build through the weekend. So interested to see what they bring here. I say Nova Scotia had a very physical, intense game with Newfoundland, and they won't want to look past this one though as they look to get the rematch on Sunday.
Here in Team Nova Scotia doing a little bit of cheers just before the start of this one. And a little bit of some lineup changes here for them. So when you get this far into a championship, that's what you can really expect to see, is that there is a, as you grow on, there's, injuries come up, and so.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. Injuries come up. You'll rotate the squad, see some different combinations. You start with an idea of what you think your absolute best lineup is, but you want to tinker a little bit through the weekend and try some different people in different places, and as I say, different combinations can play together so differently. So I'm sure both teams are working on finding what their absolute best is for Sunday.
Well, that's, as we sort of said throughout, is that everybody, you think, well, you put your full starting 15 on every day. That's just a grind that you may not have them there by the time you get to Sunday. So
yeah, you got to manage that rest through the weekend.
So it's not only just like game management, but pretty much championship tournament management when you think of it.
Yeah, certainly. And when teams are well equipped with players top to bottom, it's not a situation where you only want to play your starters and you're terrified to make a substitution. When you've got 24, 25 good players, you're happy to play them all, and then you just want to find out maybe how long the shift is for everybody, so where they can bring their best for 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever the case may be.
Audrey Fulham, the referee here for this one, so we'll eavesdrop on this scrubber. One of the very first here in this day 3 game. Tyler Robertson trying to get it over the 22, and New Brunswick have a very good start. Talking to Gavin Giddens just a little bit before the game, and they say they want to fix some of the mistakes, so they weren't quite happy with what they were doing so far, hoping to maybe switch things and turn things around, but that pass there to Kai Williams, a little bit difficult as it was sending New Brunswick back. Almost near the Nova Scotia 10, and now Nova Scotia has come up with it. And this is their first possession of the game. A nice little work down the sideline there by Riley Hillier. Almost bringing it back to the midfield stripe. Another turnover here, so New Brunswick has it once again as they just get over the 10-meter mark there on the Nova Scotia side.
Yeah, a few quick turnovers and transitions from both teams there, a couple of quick knock-ons and back and forth, and we'll finally settle in here after a pretty frantic minute or two.
Scrum right at the Nova Scotia 10. Down we go once again here to eavesdrop on the conversation and take you field level. No other sport can bring you like the sights and sounds of rugby, so let's send it down.
Liam Saunders, a strong carrier in the midfield. Gets some front foot simply there.
Their best chance to get it over on into New Brunswick territory, close to the midfield stripe. Looked like they had something to go, but a good potential tackler there from New Brunswick getting in there. But still, once again, Nova Scotia now into New Brunswick territory, close to the New Brunswick 10 meter. They're happy just to switch and send it back. Back to the 10. Riley Hillier. Nova Scotia with their first strong possession so far. Max Briggs into the lineup. Started here today, number 10. New Brunswick penalty. See if Nova Scotia will.
Shaping like they're going to the corner, and they are. Inside the 22, but only just. Few new combinations for Nova Scotia. You can see just getting used to where people like the ball, and say, how people are going to stand and where they expect the ball to be. Just a little bit of reaching back, but they're starting to iron that out now.
Nova Scotia with that win. Now they're inside the 22. Swung out, Weir. Might have got a couple of feet on that carry. Hillier swinging it out again.
That's big Jack Casey. He's had a great tournament so far.
Yes, he
Lots
has.
of strong carries.
Tough carry that time. Hillier again. Back to the outside they go.
Ryan McKay dragging a few. There's another very strong runner.
And New Brunswick getting into a little bit of some penalty difficulty. They have to go back 10. And Williams, they're going to go for 3 here. So saw this yesterday. New Brunswick basically taking a page out of the New Brunswick plan. They were doing a lot of just settling there for if they got opportunities down low to chip in for 3. And you've said to play the scoreboard game, the points game.
Yeah, exactly. Get a couple of those, and you can make up for a try or two later on. And as we've seen kind of all weekend, the last 5 to 10 meters are the hardest ones to get. A team could be back here in a flash with one line break. But the flags stay down. We'll have a 22 to restart. So the kick was not successful.
And that's where there's a little bit of the gamble, but the thing is you may not get your 7, so if you can have a chance to get to 3.
Yeah, there's some math in there for people much smarter than me to figure out.
A little mishandled difficulty there for David Smith.
It's gone backwards,
Saunders.
so he's able to replay. That's
Saunders
a strong
with a good
finish,
run.
yeah.
Down that far sideline. Nova Scotia back into New Brunswick territory near the 10 meter. Here swings it out. McKay. And the whistle stops play.
Some of that strong Jack Casey carries again on the screen. Looks like it's Dan Fallows who needed some attention there. Seems to be walking gingerly, but he's shaking it off, whatever it is. Oh, and a stolen scrum. One against the head. So Nova Scotia initially win against the head, but having their feet up and contesting, they've compromised their body position and vulnerable to be driven back off the ball, and New Brunswick end up winning a penalty at that scrum.
Well, thank you, Matt, for carrying a little bit of the play-by-play there where I fixed up a little technical difficulty. So back here on headset.
Oh, I know the scrum inner workings are fairly sometimes hard to decipher anyway. So
Parker Dunn kicks that into touch.
Yeah, the team putting the ball in the scrum is supposed to win 95% of them, so it's not a common occurrence to have it turned over. But then New Brunswick able to chase that with some pressure and rewarded here with a line out and some territory.
Now, the last few years, I've done maybe about a handful of games, so I'm getting and over the last 6, I've done a lot, but not in the last 3 years. But at these championships, we've seen a lot of things that that you haven't seen in quite a while. So it's basically been par on course.
Yeah, it's the teams are growing and they don't come out of nowhere. As you see, when the divisions are tightening up, it happens year over year, and every level is getting more competitive and the standards are raising. So yeah, seeing a higher standard of rugby. We talked about the emergence of a bit more of a kicking game than we have had in Atlantic Canada and in some levels. I think a reasonable line-out standard where teams are electing to go for line-outs and winning them at a fair percentage, and able to run creative strike plays off them and get the ball in the hands of the runners they want. When you can play off the back of set piece like line-outs and scrums confidently and competently, it really opens up a playbook to actually run through some tactics. Bit of a messy play.
Nice little hands. Nolan Eisner. Does he get it down? Yes, he does. Nolan Eisner with the try for Nova Scotia. They take the early 5-0 lead, just exactly at the 10-minute mark. So you watch it here on replay. He pretty much got it right straight from the line out and just took off and wasn't stopped. One missed tackles, and you see that sometimes missed tackles could basically make or break and determine the wins and loss, and that was the case that time as he blew by 3 New Brunswick jerseys.
And sort of as a thing that happens from time to time in many sports, the broken play, that's sometimes even hard for the defense to deal with. The attack line out wasn't exactly as they drew it up, but as the defense was sort of adjusting to what they saw and expected, a bit of a loose ball leads to a try for Nova Scotia. I was incorrect earlier in my scrum-capped back rowers when I identified Nolan as Dan Fallow, so apologies there. I see Dan's got number 18 carrying on some water. Looks like he might be getting ready to come in soon.
Well, the thing is that in the sport, of course, numbers just change pretty quickly, so it's bound to happen. So
yeah.
And one of the things is that also too is that you see action going on. There's a lot of ball switching just within an instant, and you go to look before that it's just not a factor anymore. So. Restart underway, just past 11 minutes, coming up to the 12th minute. Nova Scotia with an early 5-0 lead. Kicking game may be something that they may not be happy about. They had a chance to get a penalty kick and unable to successful, and on a successful conversion, we'll see if that hurts them in the cause. But right now, they're definitely holding the ball a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, Keegan Dalton went for a nice big run there. It was well held by David Smith. Their pass was a little bit off target, but he gathered well and distributed. It's a nice piece of attack.
Ying How Long. And momentarily, Saunders. Saunders having a pretty good game so far here, number 12 for Nova Scotia.
Yeah, he's a skillful player. He's a great athlete. He's been playing for a few years through these Celtics under-17 teams, Bayview High School product, with coached by Stuart Cochran and Dawson Legier and Remy Myers. Dawson
Legier, who is like an official, is actually a coach too. That's
he does he's been teaching in Pictou County this year, but was at Bayview for many years, and coaches our under-15 provincial team as well as being an official. Dawson's responsible for a great deal of the rugby in the province.
Goosens with the big high kick for New Brunswick, brought down by Ying How Long, and play blown down. So we take a look at it.
That's David Smith, maybe a 5 for a 2.
Yeah. Didn't see the 1 there. Apologies on that one. So,
but yeah, David's been showing off some great hands there. Off the passes and the kicks.
Well, we've got mix of sun and cloud today. Once again, that same 3 out of 10 chance of showers throughout the day in the forecast.
The lineout was well won, a little bit of a messy ball, but they've recovered it, and off to Nolan Eisner again off the back of the lineout.
Who's already got the 1 try here for Nova Scotia. And a New Brunswick steal there by Sean Fair.
Penalty advantage. They were not rolling away while the hand got in there at that breakdown, and that's why the turnover doesn't stand.
Here's Keegan Dalton. Well, it looks like was going to be, but it's going to be Owen Williams that will take it. And once again, into touch here for a lineup. So we've seen this being Nova Scotia's 3rd best chance there in the red zone, trying to score points. The first time they tried to go for a penalty kick, unsuccessful. Second time they got the try. So,
yeah,
is it in your head here of the coaching staff of New Brunswick? It's like wondering what they're going to do, or does it say, hey, Nova Scotia's just going to know they're going to just go for the try?
Yeah, I mean, they were traditionally would have said they were looking to set up the maul there, and I bet they were, but the lineout was just a little sloppy in the handling. They've won it, but just a little miss.
Ashton Weir
got it to Liam in some space.
Liam Saunders getting a lot of touches here for Team Nova Scotia. Now Nova Scotia called for penalty, and New Brunswick with the stand that time, and they'll kick it into touch. As we watch the replay of Saunders. And seeing the penalty there, which ended up giving the ball to New Brunswick, and back down on the Nova Scotia side of the field, just barely past the midfield stripe.
We'll see how the Nova Scotia defensive lineout looks. Will McDonald not in the lineup today? He was their one-man defensive option.
And when I say just past the midfield stripe, I mean by like inches, like maybe 1 or 2 inches. Swing out there by Giddens.
Audrey not happy with the clear release from Keegan. He went for that turnover a little bit early, so won't get away with that.
Parker Dunn, who also does the kicking here for New Brunswick. Line out, but
yeah, we've said it a few times this weekend that penalty awarded right in the middle of the field, side to side, makes for a tricky decision because the kick for touch doesn't always give you much reward, and then you go play a contestable set piece.
Yeah, they might have gained a few more meters than where they actually were, so it's New Brunswick to inbound. Not done fairly.
So I think we mentioned yesterday the sort of updated law that the defense has to also put a jumper in the air in the area to make the straightness of the throw material enough to call. And so, yeah, that was a contested line out. Nova Scotia put somebody in the air and throw wasn't straight. So the result will be a scrum to Nova Scotia.
And the thing is that it wasn't wind factor at the time because the flag's pretty much dead here. Just, well, maybe that's not the right word, but not blowing, we'll say. So, and as soon as I say that, like you see over there, right close to where they are, it's blowing. But on this far side line, close to our broadcast location, there was nothing at the meantime. So, it's a tricky wind to deal with.
Yeah, from one sideline to the other, the flags can be doing very different things.
Bind!
As soon as I say that, the wind picks up. So.
Okay, you're slipping, okay? Straight down.
A tap and go by Nova Scotia. First time we see them go up tempo with it. Was Keegan Dalton with the handoff there once again to Saunders. Midway between the midfield stripe and a turnover picked up there by Legier. Legier going back with it. And Brunswick getting set up. And it's going to be Goosen that will take it. Kicked down the field there by Jack LeBlanc.
As well taken by David. It's one drop that went backwards, but otherwise been fairly safe.
And now Nova Scotia
directly off
penalty.
their feet at the breakdowns. They went over that ruck and went off their feet. So it's a quick whistle, not giving New Brunswick any chance to compete fairly for the ball.
Dunn once again puts it into touch. As New Brunswick marching down the field. Haven't really got it into the red zone with Team Nova Scotia yet, so maybe this is their best chance to try to do that and at least even it up here. We're past 19 minutes into the match with Nova Scotia with a 5-0 lead.
Yeah,
Kai Williams there to inbound. Sorry?
I was going to say, fair to say Nova Scotia's been controlling the possession, but yeah, it didn't feel like the scores would only be 5-0 and missed their kickable penalty and then opted not to take at least one more. So New Brunswick will be happy to get their chance down here to attack and with a chance to take the lead.
Max Briggs was actually going backward for Nova Scotia, so Keegan Dalton.
Keegan Dalton's a fantastic player, one of the leaders of the team.
Yeah, we just found out about the spotlight just before the game. From the Pictou County area, booted upfield.
Is that fourth bounce?
I was like, I wondered if he was counting the bounces with Parker Dunn that picks it up. Parker Dunn almost dragged there.
Oh, that's an interesting option.
Nolan Eisner had difficulty, but there was somebody right in his kitchen before he could be able to even handle it.
But
after that, I thought I heard a whistle, and so they were trying to go up tempo with it, but blown down once again there by Audrey Fulham.
I just need to know, is that Navy?
Set it down, we'll catch some sights and sounds again.
So, is knock on by black? By blue. Okay, yeah, perfect. Sure. Thank you. Yes, just knocked on by blue, okay? I just want to make sure we have, he said knock on black, so I want to make sure we both are the same, okay?
So the initial outcome of that bit of kick tennis from Owen was a great, kicked that ball originally from, took possession, 10 meters or so away from his goal line, so, turned over possession. They contested a little bit, but even to have the next set piece be 60 odd meters away is a great success for the Celtics.
Here at the 22-minute mark, New Brunswick. Quick pass to Giddens. Goosen taking it to Nova Scotia territory. Swing out.
There you go.
Legier. Giddens again. He'll reverse. Up to Dunn. Dunn once again kicks it up. And David Smith. Catching on the run's been pretty good for him in this game.
Yeah, he made a great decision there. I think you could tell there's a moment where some fullbacks decide whether they're going to try and play a bounce or take the ball in the air. And to take the ball in the air is preferred if it's not going to put you in too compromised a position. So he made that decision quickly. He came in on the ball that was probably going to hang up a bit in the wind. So
Jack McKenna brought down. Just 10 meters past the midfield stripe. Swung by Goosen. Whistle stops play.
You don't need to tell me that you're not holding him, okay? You had advantage, so I'll give it to you, but just please watch your mouth. Okay, offside number 5, was it? Perfect, just straight ahead here, okay.
As I said, no other sport allows you to get down there and get you the insides of this, and it's once again thank the officials throughout here to allow us to get that information that can be passed along to the viewers. And
yeah, they've got a slightly uncomfortable contraption they've got to wear, but we've got some. It is great for the review to be able to review all the interactions, and also for moments like that to go down and get a clear picture of what's happening. And so much of the game is management by the referee to explain penalties that are happening and trends. So I think we got an offside penalty there, but also a warning for some decorum or sportsmanship. Audrey is one of the top referees in the province. She makes her way here from Ireland and as our Sport Nova Scotia match official of the year, and she's been doing a great job helping raise the standard of officiating here. Happy to have her.
not done, thrown in right, so that will blow that one down. It's the second time in this game that has happened.
Yeah, the wind is, when it picks up, it's a bit, really
and
wreaks
there's
havoc
like
on
no
the
warning for it. Like, you're all set and there's nothing. And then
let
boom,
go of it
it
and
just,
boom.
Somebody like presses a button and it just gets windy and makes it difficult. So
yeah, I threw some lineouts in my day, and when the wind is swirling, it's not a lot of fun. Yeah, great exit from that territory here. Maybe Coach Axel might be picked up on the mics there saying that's a great exit. It's a steep angle, but I think they thought the wind was helping, so they just had to get it kind of up in the air and let the wind carry it. Yeah, it's a great exit from where that play started.
give a little bit of breathing room on this line out. This is Kai Williams to bring it in for New Brunswick.
Yeah, and they probably feel emboldened having forced a few not straights that they can contest.
That one done fairly. Goose it. Kai Williams. Dragged down. Goose it again. Duffy.
It's a nice ball movement from the Spruce. They're looking to use both sides of the ruck effectively, and sometimes even after the first pass, they've reversed field a few times.
Giddens. Stutter step, Giddens. Split a little bit of the D. Duffy, once again, asked to give some yardage here. And when he gets going, he's hard to get down for Team New Brunswick.
I meant to check. There's a fairly famous rugby Duffy from New Brunswick, and I wonder if that's a relation, another strong runner.
McKenna. New Brunswick not gaining any ground. Giddens again. Swings it into the middle. Goosen. Thought he saw a hole, thought a little bit of a gap up to gut, and that closed quickly there by Team Nova Scotia. They pushed the pile, but
so when the ball's taken in like that and held up, it forms a maul, and if the team that has the ball before the maul starts isn't able to produce it the results of scrum to the other team. So practically that really means that if you can tackle somebody and hold them up off the ground for a long enough time, you can turn the ball over. They call it a choke tackle.
Nearing halftime. Brunswick maybe looking to try to come away with something. Cut this 5-0 game, so we've seen tight, high-scoring affairs. We've seen tight, low-scoring affairs, and this one is another tight one. And
yeah, happy. I think all these teams are happy the games are close. They know that when they come here, they get several good high-level games in a short period of time. They play, they review, they get to improve and play another good game just the next day. Audrey not happy with the binding or the driving angle there, and penalty to Nova Scotia as they'll get a chance to steal a bit more territory with the wind at their back.
oh, Williams once again asked. Get it out. Into touch.
Yeah, couldn't have gotten any more on that. He was very greedy on the angle, which we like to see. I want to see kickers kick it well into the woods, but only gain a little bit of yardage. So he knew just how far that would have gone, and yeah, you can see the wingers on the New Brunswick team trying to keep it in and unable to. So got the most bang for their buck there.
Yeah, less than a minute to go, plus extra time. Dalton with the heads, but not quite. They had a little bit of difficulty with that one. So another scrum as a result of the knock-on.
Coach is getting some instruction in there. See the formations changing a little bit out wide, but not able to get this scrum sorted out. Not happy with their binding. I'm sure this will be a
couple of times. The last two that's hasn't been to the liking of Audrey Fulb. Nova Scotia getting down the pitch thanks to the foot of Owen Williams, and wants this again into touch here. So as we're into extra time.
Yeah.
Now, if you sorry, go ahead, finish your point.
Nova Scotia looking to get a strong attacking platform here and come away with some points in their last opportunity.
Glad you went there. It's like, okay, so if a penalty comes up for Nova Scotia, do you go for the 3 or?
I mean,
it may not be actually have to worry about it because Nova Scotia's driving. Are they going to be rewarded with the try?
Held up's the call. A very strong carry from Sam to gain a great deal of territory, and that takes us into half. It was a nice run by Keegan and a nice ball to get Sam going on the front foot, but unable to get the grounding. And to answer your question, yeah, I would have. I was a bit of a scaredy cat. I would have been cautious, and if I had the chance to take 3, it would take you to an 8-point lead. So, yeah, I mean, it's hypothetical, but in around there with that much time and score, I think a lot of coaches would.
A big stand here by New Brunswick keeps it a 5-point game, so we're going to step aside for a little bit, and we'll have more here from Windsor. This is the 2025 U19 Senior Atlantic Rugby Championships on Maritime Athletic Profiles. Back here at the 2025 U19 Senior Atlantic Rugby Championships here at Maritime Athletic Profiles. Delighted to have Gavin Giddens here join us. So, how do you think the championships are going for the team so far?
Well, the past 2 games we haven't gotten the result we've wanted, but I think we've slowly improved over each game. We're hoping to improve on that even more here today.
Yeah. So, how happy are you with your game?
I know I can do more. I've had some problematic turnovers, I'd say, but if we can keep that down, I think we'll be good.
All right. So let's get to know a little bit more about you. So, how did you get into the sport of rugby here?
In 6th grade, my teacher asked me to play, and then I started. And then I started going to Trojans in St. John with Chad Suley, and then he kept me in it, and I've played ever since.
So you're sort of like relatively, we've been hearing stories about people starting in high school, and you started in grade 6, so this is a veteran sport, so you must have had a lot of tales here in this sport. So tell us about some of your favorite moments so far.
Just every year with Spurs, getting to know new players that I would never played with before, and I don't know, just being able to bond as a team every year and make friends throughout has been good.
Now you've been involved with some club action, so you're here on the provincial level. So how's your club play going back locally in your area?
Our A side has been pretty good for Trojans. Our B side, less than stellar, I'd say. But other than that, I think it's going to look pretty good when I go back.
Yeah, so let's, as I said, we're going to find out a lot about you. So what are sort of some of your hobbies, interests that you have outside of this sport?
I like football, and I don't know. Can't really think of much else.
Yeah. So has there ever been like a highlight that stands out for you in this sport? Did you say, well, that is one of my greatest rugby moments that I've ever had?
At RNS during the tournaments they do in 10th grade, I had a box kick that went from the hashes on the left, like 30 yards to the hashes on the right, and our wing picked it up and went the rest of the way for a try.
All right, so future goals in the sport, where do you see yourself going?
I'd love to go to the CRCs and just improve any way I can, go as far as I can. That's all.
All right, perfect. I'll let you get back, and best of luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you very much.
Gavin Giddens from Team New Brunswick U19. We're here at the U19 Senior Atlantic Rugby Championships on Maritime Athletic Profiles. Yeah, welcome back here to King's Edge Hill School. 5-0 Nova Scotia leads over New Brunswick. U19 men's action. Maritime Athletic Profiles at the 2025 Atlantic Rugby Championships. Once again, David Smith fielding that, and he'll send it right back where it came from. As the 15s exchange, Parker Dunn has it. Dunn broke a couple potential tackles, bringing it up to the midfield stripe, and
yeah, it's good work by the Celtics, but I think New Brunswick have won that kick interchange. It was a nice take by David and an option to kick back, but New Brunswick have gained a fair bit of territory here. I was interested at halftime to see sort of what interchanges or substitutions got made, and I think the only one I see now for Nova Scotia at least is number 17, Big Eric Rutledge.
Rutledge seeing some action a little bit earlier in the first two contests for Nova Scotia, and have an injury to New Brunswick. Crillon Legier, the
looks to be happy.
Walking off.
Medical staff, let's say Leon DeRoche, give a quick check. And, yeah, thanks to all the team athletic therapy medical staff, all the different designations they all have, and the tournament AT services provided by Jenny Soller and King's Edge Hill.
Sam Spinney, once again, had to spin around to catch it on the fly for Nova Scotia. Hillier.
Eric doing the good teammate thing. When you come in fresh, you take a good few carries. That's one of my favorite plays.
Keegan
That's
Dalton.
one of my favorite plays.
You know, I've had an act of picking sometimes, profile players, and we had a chance to see the interview before the game, and sometimes they come up and make big plays. There's one there for Keegan Dalton.
If we can see that again all the way back to the ruck, where the scrum half picks and pops back inside, draws a little bit of defense. Every team's got a different name for it.
Yeah, from Pictou County, attends Northumberland School.
Yeah,
just near Alma. Just off the highway as you head to New Glasgow and Ganesh area.
And that little pop back inside, once you put a little pressure on the defense to move sideways, especially after a little line break. So Eric Rutledge gets him on the front foot. And once you get on the front foot, Joker's wild. Almost anything works because the defense is scrambling. They're thinking, oh my goodness, they have to chase the scrum half and pop back inside. The kick's good.
Yep, so just coming back to live action, so it's up and good. Makes it 12-0.
I think Coach Michael Simpson deserves a shout-out for that. I don't know if he's watching or going to make his way down this weekend, but yeah, Mike Simpson is a very high-level scrum half in the region, and that was a favorite play of his. Played for Newfoundland and Nova Scotia.
Restart. Right back, Keegan Dalton got the first touch there for Nova Scotia. And he sort of walked the fine line to stay in bounds.
Yeah, just a little tiptoe and a last-second offload. He found a way to get it away to Sam. We've got no attempt to wrap in the tackle, and the Celtics will get to stay on the front foot.
And a tap and go, and the kick down there. Might have been the opposite foot there. Not knowing if he's right-handed or left-handed, but just use the opposite foot to do like a little bit of a squib kick down the sideline.
Yeah, put a little chaos in there, put a ball in behind them. So the Celtics are cheering as the referees discuss that was a 50-22. So it's a new law, depending on how close you've been to rugby in the last couple of years. A kick made by Keegan from inside the Celtics half that hit the ground and rolled out of the New Brunswick 22 is a Nova Scotia lineout. Law originally was there to encourage some wingers to stay back more and open up some play, but also grubbers from flankers off tap and goes will be 50-22s as well.
And difficulty handling that time for Max Briggs. Results in the knock-on. Let's go scrum just about near the New Brunswick 22.
I'm going to confirm some numbers. So I believe Celtics manager Pat Spiteri has lied to me. Pat's a good friend.
So scrum underway. As I said, just inside the New Brunswick 22. Follows now in. Liam Saunders had a good couple of good touches early in that first half. Ball carrier for Nova Scotia. Back outside, Keegan Dalton. And once again, Nova Scotia go for some tough yardage here. They're getting close to that try line in New Brunswick. Got one so far in the second half, looking for their second. 60-minute game this one is to start the day. A swing out. Rutledge. Back out again for Briggs. Saunders back along that sideline.
Sam Spinney able to get it
down.
Spinney
puts it down for another try 5, Nova Scotia. And 17-0 lead.
Will McDonald appears to be checking in for a shift here, number 19. A great line-out threat for Nova Scotia. Getting to the last third of the game here. The team's looking to rotate the squad through and manage the minutes, get everybody some work, but keep everybody's bodies in as good shape as possible for Sunday's games.
David Smith's conversion short, so it stays 17-0 here. Just past 37.5 minutes. Well, you were saying just before we went back on air for the second half that we could see a little bit of a different look from Nova Scotia, and that's come to point. They've had 2 quick tries just like that and taken a game that was relatively close and sort of now have a really, we'd have to say, comfortable, pretty much close to 2 possession game for lead. So
I think it's a big 5-7 minutes upcoming. I think New Brunswick will need to jump on something here and get some points to feel like they're still in it. And if Nova Scotia are able to score again, they'll feel pretty confident to close out the final minutes coming up.
Ying Hao Long trying to get it to his 10-meter line. And Nova Scotia called for penalty, so see if New Brunswick can march down and try to get some points here to cut into this deficit. As we're close to 2/3 of the way into this game, nearing the 40-minute mark, we're just getting close to the 39. They're gonna go.
Got the wind at their back here. They're feeling right about smack dab in the middle of the field. Have elected for points. They they would need the kick at some point. So if you've got a chance for it with the wind at your back in a favorable position, then you can set about getting the 2 tries you need in that last 20 minutes.
Now, to put this in like a football reference, this is about like, works out to be about like 47 yards, but as you say, it's right down Main Street, so it's definitely not a gimme when you put it into terms. It's just inside the 10-meter mark of Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I think the kicker would have to know and be confident that they can get it up and give it a good strike to where the wind can help it.
Kick is up. And good, and that's big. And that gets a big clap there, and that's points.
You can tell that that kick felt fairly pedestrian, so he's got another 5 or 10 meters in him if the team were to need it.
Well, when you have that in your back pocket, that's just an added thing. That you may not be able to get tries, but if you're getting points on the board, like,
yeah, they all count the same. I remember a game at a provincial championship a few years ago. One of our referees here, Mike Dickey, was refereeing in the middle, and we had a very strong kicker who went on to kick in the AUS for football, Jarrett, and a penalty around midfield, and we elected for points and hit it, and we're standing with Mike. Well, that's a warning to the other team that basically you can't commit penalties in your own end or you'll give up points. And that's not a fun feeling for the defense, where they have to be mistake-free or they're going to have the scoreboard tick over on them.
Legier brought down the restart just outside of his 22, but line out here for New Brunswick.
It's a nice strike from Ryan McKay to the back of the lineout, and this is Inghow. I believe he and Jack Casey have switched jerseys, so Inghow's got a nice carry on the front foot there.
The changes coming fast and furious here. Max Briggs.
Liam able to scoop that up.
The scoop up, Pat Mansfield has checked in, wearing 20, back out for Nova Scotia.
It was a great steal.
Owen Williams. Sometimes you think of players getting like the tries, having great games, but so far you got to really, let's pump the tires of Owen Williams, how good he's been in this one.
Yeah, he's been great, been handling some great kicking duties, and the in play, making a first defender miss and keeping the options available. Yeah, Owen's a wonderful player.
A substitution for Team Nova Scotia.
And I think they have also switched jerseys. And
yes.
I will continue to ridicule Pat whenever he watches this video back.
Well, originally it was supposed to be Wilson Davison.
But I heard somebody say
Wilson for quite a long time.
That's Wyatt Langevin.
Yeah.
That's a great carry.
Ashton Weir. Taking it there from the far side, bring it over to the near side and back down into enemy territory, into the red zone here for Nova Scotia as they're on the march again. Up by 2 converted tries. So we take a look at that run.
Just a slight knock on there as they tried to be offloaded to stay, keep the ball alive. But it was great attacking instincts from Ashton to keep his eyes forward, remain threatening, and drawing the attention of many defenders.
Take a look at David Smith, who's had to field some New Brunswick kicks. We're watching a little bit of the replay and then the follow-up run.
He's felt confident back there, and that's one of the things we talk about back three players as a coach. When the ball gets kicked, you just want players that lower your heart rate, that just feel like, right, David will take care of this. He'll make the right option at the right time.
And New Brunswick gets a little bit of breathing room is sent into touch.
Celtics lineout's been operating well. Ryan working on his throw before the game. Not straight, says Audrey. Well, certainly not straight, but enough of a contest from New Brunswick to call it not straight.
Okay. What's wrong with a second? Okay, I'll keep an eye on that. Okay. I will say that last scrum was probably the best scrum of the game. Okay. That last scrum was probably the best scrum of the game so far. So if we can keep it that and better, I'm happy all day. Thank you. We've 15 left. Crouch! Bind!
Just about did it all. You talked about her accolades of being officiating. You said if you do that all game, I don't have a problem. And then until 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, she's
10 out of 10.
Yeah, she gave us the whole update. And yeah, trying to work to manage that scrum, and as a referee's trying to avoid going for penalties if they can manage things and talk their way through a game. But unhappy with the Celtics driving.
And a big boot. This one, Smith won't be able to catch it on the fly. He'll back.
It's great pressure from New
There's
Brunswick.
22. Open field tackle there by Giddens. Nova Scotia rolling, kicking it back.
It was an interesting tactic from New Brunswick, one that you wouldn't see too often, but until Jack Casey broke this big run.
There's Jack Casey
goodness.
on the go from midfield stripe. Jack Casey, lost the ball. It's on the ground and blown down.
Well, I was just about to say that the kick was sort of unorthodox. It was a bent arm penalty, so they couldn't kick it directly into touch. Sometimes teams just tap and go off that, but just kick down the field and go contest. They put a lot of pressure on. They almost won a turnover right in front of the sticks, which was what they were after, but they were able to recycle possession, and Jack Casey gets almost all that territory right back, but then forgets the ball at the last second.
Baba with the punch out there for New Brunswick.
He's looked dangerous when he's been involved. Just not as much possession for New Brunswick to get their players involved.
Yeah, it was a little quiet game for him because he's got some speed, and he had to show it there to get back. He was the one man to beat and get the punch out, so keeping it. Two tries and two conversion game, 17-3. And a New Brunswick injury. It's Charles Bagley, number 1. We'll step aside. And welcome back as they are helping Charles Bagley out of St. George, New Brunswick, who plays for the St. John Trojans UFC. We'll head to the medical tent, and he may be just out for a few seconds to check him out, but he was not quite moving as fast as he would probably like. So New Brunswick will have to make a substitution. Nobody in the book yet in this game. We see a couple of yellows and 1 red card in day 2 of the championships. Kicked into touch, so a line out here for New Brunswick. Just past the 17-minute mark, approaching the 18 in the second half. A couple of Nova Scotia tries to sort of strengthen this lead for them. They were leading by 5-0 after the opening 30, if you're just joining us. Matt Motz and Dan Hobson and the rest of the Maritime Athletic Profiles crew here in Windsor, Nova Scotia for the championships. Giddens. Was looking to try to come in here into this game and improve on his performance. He was telling me off camera before he had a chance to talk to him. Of course, we heard that interview during the halftime. A penalty to New Brunswick.
Interesting sort of play. I think Omar has come in at number 23 and slightly mishandled that kick, but didn't knock it on. New Brunswick clean up the loose ball and then immediately get turned over by the 2 players there on their feet. So sometimes being the one to win the race to the ball isn't always the advantage.
Legier pushed back to the midfield stripe. A tackle there by Jack Casey. McIntyre uses his arm and stiff arm push to the Nova Scotia player and get into Nova Scotia territory. We mentioned yesterday that he plays for the Mount Allison Mounties in Atlantic University Sport Football.
Oh, it's a great kick from Omar. Really the only option there to get it off the foot, and then up and makes the tackle on a big runner.
Omar Alsadia wearing 23. Legier just past the Nova Scotia 10-meter.
Omar's been having a great weekend. I got to coach Omar one time on a 7th strip a few years back, right when he was more to the beginning of his career, and it's been great to watch him develop into a very complete rugby player.
Good hands there by Jack LeBoss, scooping that 2 bounces on the pass there from Giddens. Nolan McDonald getting a touch, brought down, trips over his own teammate's legs there. That was Owen Lurd, him getting their legs tangled. Meantime, Jack McKenna just close to the Nova Scotia 22. Done. Kai Williams inching his way there to the Nova Scotia 22. Oh, a big hit there.
Eric Rutledge, but looked like it was high or offside. But he is a fantastic hitter, Eric Rutledge.
Yeah, just watch it on the replay. Oh. Not sure if you ever heard of Gorilla Monsoon, but
I have heard the name, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember one of his lines?
No.
Glad I retired. Are you glad you retired? You see that one?
Yep.
It's a great line, but it doesn't go for me. Never played this sport at all. So just glad I'm in the booth.
It's a great steal by Ryan McKay, but so he's gone back to the advantage where he's earned the penalty despite the knock-on.
So New Brunswick was pressing, and they get just barely past the 22, but no further. Nova Scotia has it. Omar Alsadian up and out for the line out. To come as it goes into touch. That was Jack McKenna that felt that from Team New Brunswick as took at the last previous play.
Yeah, Nova Scotia line out again, having a good day, able to recycle possession.
Ying Hao Long. And now Nova Scotia called for penalty. Quick tap and go. Jack McKenna. Jack McKenna getting it close here for New Brunswick. They're looking for the first try of the game. They scored on penalty. And the quick head off. Fair. Nothing there. Pushed back.
Jack Casey in on the double tackle there with our player with a blank jersey number. I'll have to ask Pat who that is.
And pretty much a stalemate and a Nova Scotia penalty. Back-to-back penalties pushing Nova Scotia back. And a yellow card's been assessed here, so Nova Scotia going to be a man down. I do believe I thought I saw a yellow.
Yeah. And that's Big Will McDonald.
So McDonald off to the sin bin.
Penalty kick wouldn't really help them here. They need the 2 tries, so.
And if you've got the man advantage, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Kai Williams outside McKenna. McKenna inching closer for the try here for New Brunswick. Goosen.
Owen Williams elected for a big counter ruck there. He was cleared out and went back at it, but Audrey not happy with how it all transpired. Kai's going to look for either Kai or Jack McKenna, I would bet, to try to tighten up the score here. Oh, and I'd be wrong. Off wide.
Swing out. Parker Dunn. Ababa. Keeping the legs going, pushing the pile.
Great leg drive.
Give it to the big guy, McIntyre, and New Brunswick going backwards with it as Tyler Robertson.
The defense from Jack Casey's been massive these last few minutes, finding chances to make big shots and drive people back.
Goosen and Nolan McDonald. Before the pass, there was knocked out of his hands.
See how quickly they can get to a kick here before the New Brunswick back line adjusts.
And Nova Scotia has it. Eric Rutledge, who's had a couple of big, thunderous tackles in this one for Nova Scotia. Long. El Sadie with the kick. Feel it there by Giddens, who gets reintroduced there to Ashton Weir. And New Brunswick called for penalty.
The wind's still in their face here, so harder to exit here, but.
Yeah, just as soon as you said it, it was just sort of just, you knew it was coming. That wind is set up. It does.
It's a nice shot from Omar, though, given the circumstances.
New Brunswick trying to get the ball here as they are trying to get it because
yeah, they
time's
need
running
the
out
ball in play. Yeah, only 4 more minutes left.
3.5 and change, and 2 tries and conversions to get.
Boy, that is some incredible strength to stay in the field of play. End result is still he's carried into touch, but that it carried on for that long was very impressive. Heads up from Ryan and Eric to go quick. Offer my 2 cents for them when they watch this back, that they can run that play and then get out to the width. They'll avoid the touchline. I appreciate the invention and creativity to go quick there.
And you know that it's going to be for New Brunswick. They're going to try to basically get a turnover any possible way. So it's, it's going to be a little bit added extra protection for Nova Scotia. That's New Brunswick. They will get the ball. Jack LeBlanc.
Slick hands.
Kick it out.
There's Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson Davison will go back with it. Double twos. Good burst of speed by Wilson Davison.
Unhappy with the obstruction there. There's a bit of a bump as the players were trying to get sorted out on that kick. And due to the excessive disagreement, they'll be back another 10.
And a tap and go. Jack McKenna will get it down. A big try for New Brunswick. Seen it sometimes that, a couple penalties just hurt you. That was the case in point here for Nova Scotia. New Brunswick capitalized, the tap and go, and McKenna with the try.
May get filed under too little, too late by the time play restarts, but as long as play can restart, they'll have a chance. Count for 30 more seconds or so for this kick. He knows he won't rush, but he'll be as quick as he can. It's a challenging convert, but he's made that impressive kick from almost half, so if he's got the accuracy, we know he's got the leg.
Right on the Nova Scotia 22. It's up.
Flag stay down. Must push that wide.
Yeah, so
that
might have been the ball game right there.
Yeah, in the world of shrinking win probability, that may have put it down to 0. If the kick went over and it was a 7-point game going into this kickoff, but I don't think they have a way to get 9 points in the last few seconds.
Yeah. Under 30 to go.
Audrey gave Nova Scotia a little reminder to hurry up there, that she wasn't going to let them take all the time. But
Ababa. Does he have a run back in him? Runs into a big Nova Scotia blue wall. Kai Williams. Met instantly. Deflected up right into the hands there of Jack LeBlanc.
I have to assume he's a relation of Allison LeBlanc on the under-19 New Brunswick women's team, but if not, the coincidence is too. They run very similar. They seem to look very similar.
Ababa met by Smith. Into extra time.
Carter Doucette is the man in the blank jersey, and he's been getting through a pile of work. So
Gavin Giddens brought down. Set down, and Alsadia will have to go. It's met there by Dunn from New Brunswick.
I think we're getting down to a few more carries and kick out. You can hear the New Brunswick coaches requesting that they need the ball from their players.
Langevit's going to maybe put the exclamation mark. He has Giddens to beat, blows by him. And a good tackle there by Jack McKenna.
Able to get up, not held, and get an offload away to Liam Saunders. That was heads-up play. There's a crew of these boys that have been training for sevens pretty heavily in hopes of making the Canada Games team upcoming. And
David Smith. Smith will put an exclamation point on this one.
It was a great day for David Smith and a great way to finish it off. But those sevens players, you can tell the fitness is high, the game sense is high. And I think the 15s team is reaping the benefits of some of those performances.
So he puts another 5 up on the board for Nova Scotia to make it 22. And Langevin will be on here, trying to get the conversion here and put this one into bed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Same thing, the game, if the numbers are there, that's their numbers, so that would be, if it's beside them, that's their actual number. Makes sense? Thank you.
So from distance, good. And 3 blows there, the whistle by Audrey Fulham indicate the game over. Nova Scotia had a 5-0 lead and had 2 quick tries early in the second half, cruised to a 24-8 victory. So we're going to take a little bit of a break and we'll wrap this one up. And we'll speak to David Smith from Team Nova Scotia when we return here to the 2025 U19 Senior Atlantic Rugby Championships on Maritime Athletic Profiles.
She's 23 or 22. I think it's 23.
Okay. 23. Just text me if it ends up being 22.
I will.
Great.
And welcome back to Windsor, Nova Scotia. I'm here with David Smith, and you got a try there towards the end. Tell us about the play.
There's just wide open space. My buddy Owen Williams saw it. He tossed me a pass, and I went for a run.
Yeah, speaking of running, you were doing a lot of running there on some catches, and it was very difficult conditions. The wind was sort of like playing havoc with you. We were coming up clean with the ball most of the time. So tell us all about those plays you've had to make there on the kicks there from New Brunswick.
Yeah, some of them were a little rough. You know, they're really high balls. The sun was out earlier. Lost the ball a few times, but still ended up with it in the end.
Yeah, so tell us about yourself. How'd you get involved in this sport?
Grade 10. My brother told me to play.
Yeah.
So high school.
All right. Tell us all about yourself. Where you're from, and you know, basically what school you attend, and all that sort of stuff there, and your occupation that you like to do.
I'm from Upper Tantallon. I play at Bayview Rugby, and also for the Halifax Terriers, and I work in a grocery store.
Yeah. So basically some of the goals that you'd like to achieve going on, like either outside of the sport or even in the sport, doesn't really matter.
You know, just be the best player I can be,
yep,
and win, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, you've seen a lot of players play like to the age of 50. Is that what you'd like to do?
Oh yeah, I love this sport. It's a good sport.
Yeah. So fantastic. So as you say, best of luck with this one, and congratulations on the win, and keep playing well, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, David Smith came away, big try towards the end of this one, and maybe put this one to bed here. So that will wrap up here this one. So for the entire crew, Matt Malotz and Dan Hobson and the rest of the Maritime Athletic Profiles crew, we say so long from Windsor.